Hello, welcome to the session of Measuring e-Governance. I am going to talk why to measure, what to measure, and what are the prerequisites and some risks of measurement. First of all, measuring is needed for better understanding where we are and where we want to go. It's essential for well-considered decision-making, and this is why we need to do it. We need to understand where to invest, how much to invest, and which public services we need to retire. Within the context of measurement, we also need to understand the maturity of the organization for measuring something. Measurement requires controlled environment. Controlled environment means that we clearly understand what is the current situation and what is the vision and situation in the future we want to go. So we need to know what is the change we want to execute. We need to know how do we understand that we are moving in the right direction. So the third level of maturity is required for proper measurement. Before that maturity, measuring is rather unrealistic. There are different principles related to measurement. First of all, measuring is always a cost. If you want to understand and measure something, you need to collect information. This collection doesn't happen somehow magically by itself. We need to work for collecting information. We need to work for analyzing that information and making proper decisions. And this requires efforts and it has costs. When we use information systems for measuring, we need to develop the functionality that allows to measure and collect information. This also requires resources. Second principle is that measuring has to be continuous, meaning that it cannot be one-time action and one-time spending. For measuring, when we are taking this path, we need to do it continuously, and we need to allocate continuous resources for measuring as well. Another principle is that common understanding of KPIs is needed. Every counterpart that provides measuring information needs to understand precisely the same what everybody other understands. Meaning that if we intend to collect information about document exchange, we need to define what the document is. In some cases, for example, it might happen that documentation is interpreted as in or outflow of the correspondence, but supplementary documents like contracts or memos are not considered as documents. In other organizations, every single piece of information is considered as a document. So we need to make some kind of standardization and also training for those people who are dealing with collecting measurable information. Also, common understanding of KPIs is also important. It is important to understand and interpret correctly. Those KPIs must be validated so we can really understand what is the meaning of this KPI and what decision we can make based on this KPI. UK, for example, has 4 common KPIs for measuring every single public service in UK. They are currently measuring almost 800 public services, and this measuring dashboard is also publicly available. They are the KPIs they are using is first of all cost of the single public service provision, then the level of e-services. In context of e-government, it's very important measure to understand how many services from the total is provided via electronic channels. Third, very important KPI that should be in every measurement is user satisfaction. How the users, businesses or citizens are satisfied with the service provided. And the fourth KPI is the level of successful service provisions, meaning that not every service activated does not definitely end with happy results. So this is also important KPI that relates to the user satisfaction as well. And using those most important KPIs, quite a lot of important decisions can be made also. I can say that the amount of KPIs rises with the growth of maturity. If you get to know something, you always want to know more. You get more questions, they become more detailed, and then you need more detailed information as well. Estonia has done quite a comprehensive study on different measurement methodologies and collected a rich set of international experience, and has developed their own measuring model for public services that consists 60 different KPIs. Not all those are relevant for measuring, but from those 60 measures, every public service owner can choose the relevant ones. Of course, not all KPIs can be measured, because simply on the fact that the data is not available or it's very expensive to collect and process. Therefore, but every public service can be measured, and every public service can be linked to at least some of the KPIs always. Estonian set of KPIs is also linked to the strategic level KPIs that are used for creating the strategy planning for on state level. So this model can be also used for linking lower level KPIs to the strategic level KPIs. It is worth to mention that in terms of measuring, measuring always brings transparency to processes and public service provision. And transparency is something, if it's revealed, that causes resistance in organization for change. Meaning that all those people who are involved into those processes to be changed, they get scared of their positions and will not cooperate. And this has to be kept in mind by management, that when you start measuring, you will know a lot of details about the processes and how the public services are provisioned. So keep it in mind. Thank you for listening.